science? Did the movie get it right? Bad science? Or will we have to fight? Bad science.
Greetings, Padawans. I'm Ethan Edenburg, your infinitely curious host, and this is the first episode ever of Bad Science. Every week, we put a new movie under the microscope to differentiate between science fiction and science fact. This week is Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and we are honored to have a legendary musician, comedian who you can catch on The Late Late Show with James Corden, and now every Friday night on his new Comedy Central show, Taskmaster, the admirable Admiral, Reggie Watts.
It's a trap.
Star Wars reference off the bat. Love it. So also we have appearing every weekday from what I would guesstimate to be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, better known as JPL. It's systems engineer Emily Manor-Chapman.
Hello.
Wonderful.
It's a trap.
Okay, so I want to start off, Emily, it says upon our research that you do mission planning and engineering, and so I was hoping that Reggie could guess what that actually means that she does, because I don't really know.
I think it's time to guess what the guest does.
Mission planning and engineering? Well, I mean, I guess mission planning, let's say they're going to do a Planet Hunter. They're launching a Planet Hunter, and you plan how that mission is going to go. That's pretty good. And then engineering, I imagine you have to be an engineer to plan a mission.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a really good guess. Mission planning is basically like planning a road trip where if you think of the car as your spacecraft and Google Maps as your navigator and your scientist maybe as a camera you mount on top of your car, and you're trying to make all of them play nice together and how we're going to work all together to make sure we achieve the goals of our mission.
Wow. Okay. Very. It sounds like some
that's what I
technical
did
stuff.
when I first started at JPL, and now I've moved on to I work specifically with instruments on missions and making sure that they work and can take the science that we're sending them to take.
What kind of instruments are we talking about? Because where I'm from, cello, bass, guitar, drums, I have a feeling you're talking about something else.
Yeah, scientific one. So right now I work on a mission called InSight. It's a lander. It's going to Mars. And I work on instruments that measure the weather on Mars. So it's like a weather station. We're going to take the temperature, wind speed, atmospheric pressure on Mars.
And earthquakes.
And earthquakes. So that's the seismometer that we carry on board.
Whoa. Reggie, do you know more about what she does than she does?
I have to admit, I was at JPL about 3 weeks ago. So
Wow. What were you doing at
some
JPL?
Inside on Insight. I got the inside on Insight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's a scoop. You heard it here first.
That's right.
So it's launching May 5th?
May 5th, that's right.
So, and this comes out before that. So everybody can look out for the launch and watch it online, or how does that work?
That's right. We'll have a live stream online, and we're launching out of Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is just north of Santa Barbara. So for people in SoCal, you'll be able to see it. Either you can go there and watch it in Lompoc, or if it's a clear night, it's going to be visible anywhere from San Maria all the way south to San Diego. And it launches at 4 a.m. on May 5th. So it's a night launch. It'll nicely light up the sky even from Los Angeles.
Okay, so you heard that. SoCal residents, get your sleep on May 3rd and 4th, and then May 5th, stay up all night, drive, and check out this amazing launch.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes, which is exactly what we're talking about here today, Reggie. Thank you for that segue. Before we begin, Star Wars, 1980, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Reggie, I think we spoke briefly, and you said it was your favorite of the Star Wars saga.
Yes.
What makes it so special to you? What's your relationship with the film?
I really, it could have been my age, but I really thought that scene on Hoth, like especially when the probe lands, and it's kind of like the harbinger of something terrible about to begin, and then them just waiting, the tension of them waiting, and then taking binoculars and zooming in and seeing like this crazy force of walking gigantic robots heading towards them in the horizon, which I don't know why they didn't land closer, but it was like that just ingrained on me, and I loved all the detail of like the cold and and like dealing with machinery and the cold and all the technical aspects of it, and I thought that was great. It had like it went through a lot of different environments, and you kind of learned a lot about the characters and the carbon freezing and lifting an X-wing out of the mire, and like there's just like it kind of like to me is the perfect encapsulation of all things Star Wars for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. the Yoda scene, with the training sequence, all that stuff really impacted me too. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it kind of went everywhere. It was kind of nice that way.
Yeah. Emily, same question to you.
Yeah. I came to Star Wars kind of later, I think, than most people. I grew up, though, obsessed with space travel. I wanted to be an astronaut since I was like 6 years old. I really got into Star Wars when I was in high school. And I think I just loved, because I already love space flight, so seeing, capability to fly across galaxies and kind of just that epic adventure you get to go on in Star Wars is really appealing to me.
Great. Okay, wonderful. Well, we have some soft science questions and we have some hard science questions that we're going to get into here with The Empire Strikes Back. And the first one, I think, has to do with what you're studying, which is radio communication. In Star Wars, they have... from ridiculous gaps in space that they're like instantaneously able to communicate with each other, a lot of time via hologram, and I found that to be a little bit ridiculous. So could you maybe extrapolate on that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I totally wish that we had instantaneous communications like they do in Star Wars. It would make my job so much easier. But actually, we're limited to the speed of light. Nothing can go faster than the speed of light, including radio signals. So when we send a mission to Mars, the minimum amount of time it takes us to send a signal is about 5 minutes. And that can vary up to 20 minutes. And if you look at some of the New Horizons spacecraft, which in 2015 flew past Pluto, when they flew past, it took 4.5 hours for them to send a signal. So one picture they took 4.5 hours to get back to Earth.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
Yeah, okay, so that answers my question. That is not possible. That is science fiction.
Well, until we develop quantum entanglement, we can communicate.
What's that, Rich?
Well, it's science fiction at this point, but theoretically, if we could harness the effect of quantum entanglement or spooky action at a distance, we can actually affect two things independent of the amount of space that's between them. So it's like mirroring. Like mirroring matter mirroring, or molecular matter mirroring each other at a distance. And being able to master that, you could build a communication apparatus on top of it, perhaps. I don't know. But that would be near real-time communication, independent of space.
Okay, are you willing to drop everything that you're doing and just focus on that?
I'll leave that to Reggie.
Oh, my God. No,
Reggie?
It'll never get done.
It'll never get done.
Yeah, that's like you're talking about 200 years from now.
Well, I think that if you got on it right now and dropped, this silly TV crap that you're doing, then we could get to the bottom of it.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
Thank you, Edinburgh.
You're welcome. Also, I wanted to talk about the Tauntaun scene, which is towards the beginning of the film. And I think I'm saying that right, Tauntaun.
Yes.
Tauntaun.
Sounds like a food. But so Han Solo kills this Tauntaun in a very graphic way, I would say. It really comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's probably, normal for everyone because we've seen the movie a million times, but I just rewatched it for this podcast. I hadn't seen it in a bit, and I really did. It made me squirmish a little bit. It really made, oh boy. But anyways, is it possible for Luke to remain alive inside of this Tauntaun's belly?
I mean, you have to make a lot of assumptions to figure out whether or not you think it's possible. Like, why'd the Tauntaun die? Did it die from exhaustion or did it die from hypothermia? If it's died from exhaustion, it's probably at its regular body temperature. But if it had hypothermia, we already know its body temperature's dropped. So there's a lot less heat for then the carcass to start giving out once it's dead, right? Because it won't have any more heat to generate. It just has that heat to
even if it
away.
died from exhaustion, wouldn't it have still have been very cold because it was, freezing?
Well, your interior body temperature, though, would still be pretty warm if you're not suffering from hypothermia. If we can assume it's like a human body, they'd be at 98.6 degrees.
Got you.
But Star Wars literature can put overnight temperatures on Hoth at like minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So then you have to think about like how fast would that heat start moving away from the Tauntaun. So maybe you have a little bit of time, but I think Han needs to hurry it up with that shelter.
Yeah. Are you a gambling woman, Emily?
Not really.
If you had to bet, as Reggie rolls the dice, would you put your money on Luke dying or surviving?
I think it would really depend on how much time we're saying he spent in the Tauntaun.
It seems to me like a few hours at least, right? Because there's like a desert of snow that we can see. So
I think a few hours is definitely pushing it because Luke is probably already suffering from hypothermia at that point. So I'd say like you probably have to do it inside of an hour, get your shelter built. Anything past that, Luke's probably already starting to enter the next stages of hypothermia.
I feel like it's a silly thing. I'm being picky about it here, and it's more of a plot issue, but I thought it was so silly that Luke even went after that asteroid in the first place. He knows this storm is coming. He's by himself, and he just takes off to go check out some random explosion. I thought that was like, it's like you got a death wish at that point.
Yeah, maybe he was being guided by Le Force.
That's true. So many of these questions seem to come down to he's guided by Yoda or the Force or something.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, what a great... Well, let's talk about the Force for a second, because people are able to move objects, have telekinesis, if you will. So what's that? What do you think can... what would that be made of? How would we have the energy to move something like that?
Wow. What are the things that they talk about? The kind of the biological, the physics stuff. What are they called?
Midichlorians?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing because obviously, like, our idea. I mean, in science at this point is like you can't move stuff with your mind. Like,
right.
At this point, who knows? But in the future, there may be like some way to, I don't know, influence reality in some way. I mean, in a way, like when magicians do things, like it kind of like subverts our expectation, and we're like, oh, wow, it's possible just for a second. But it's the perception of it, and the perception of it is almost the same as if it were true.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe there's some weird like interrelationary way of dealing with matter in the universe in the future that we kind of come into a new understanding with, or something like that. Because obviously nature itself is a beautifully closed system that reacts off of itself in a balanced way. So it is creating amounts of forces that do affect things. However, human beings being self-centered and, like thinking we're special, like maybe we could have the power of the universe, but maybe, I don't know.
Emily,
No, I've never really come up with a theory as to what I think is the force. I mean, if you look at physics, you have your 4 classical forces: gravitational, electromagnetic, strong, and weak nuclear forces. So it's like, is there a 5th kind of force, or somehow they can harness those even more and make them able to move atoms? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or what if we're in a simulation and then we tap into the person
code,
or the whatever the entity is that is experiencing the simulation, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll just alter the code.
Yeah, easy. I always thought for some reason it's like a meditational monk thing, enlightenment that we could get to. For some reason, my belief, it's not really a belief, but my thought process goes to like, if we combine our mental energies enough, we're capable of more than we think as humans.
I think that's true. I don't know about moving things, but there's documented phenomena where people have like sudden bursts of strength that they're like, oh my gosh, because technically, 1 square inch of muscle can lift 100 pounds.
Yeah, 1 square inch of your muscle.
Of my muscle specifically. Everybody else about 87.
Yeah.
But if you were to harness all that at once, you would just break your skeleton. It would just go, but
worth it.
But there are times when people, I mean, like watching Michael Jordan jump in the air, like doing like a dunk or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see like midway, it seems like he stepped on air to go one more higher. Obviously, that's just like mechanics and so forth. But there are ways to fudge things to make them more fantastic than we think.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. So another funny one here for me is that when Luke gets his arm cut off by the lightsaber, which obviously we don't have, so
It's hand, not arm.
All right, I'm sorry. Thank God that you're here. Oh. Don't want to offend anyone. He gets his arm, his hand cut off somewhere near the elbow, I guess. So we're really
has to move it up.
We're really splitting. But anyways, there's no, and I guess they did it for PG purposes. Like there's no blood.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, maybe it just cauterized his hand.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe heat doesn't really do that. I've never tried to amputate myself.
With a beam of intense light energy.
Correct. Yes, I have tried to amputate myself with a bunch of other tools, but not that specific tool.
Yeah.
Any thought?
It makes sense that it would cauterize, right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what we assume a lightsaber is made of.
Mm-hmm. Right, of course.
But yeah, if we think it's a very hot blade, like we see in other movies, they melt metal with it, so it's got to be really pretty hot.
Pretty hot.
Maybe it can, but on the other hand, it's so hot that even just coming into contact for that brief amount of time, their skin would just start like burning everything. Yeah, or vaporizing.
Yeah. It's like those videos when people throw watermelons into volcanoes. It's like it just goes poof. It's just like a little puff of water vapor, and that's it. It's done. So I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, I guess we don't know exactly. But I mean, technically, if it somehow was a beam that was super laser precise, and could control, the angle or whatever that you're moving through something, then I guess it would cauterize.
Okay.
Or it would hurt.
So I'm putting the stamp of conclusion on that. That checks out.
I think it's highly probable.
Okay, no more research necessary. We got it.
Okay.
All right, my last
on.
soft science question is about the AT-ATs, which I had a big problem with, and we don't have to harp on it.
You mean the all-terrain armored transports?
Yeah, the all-terrain armored transports.
AT-ATs.
Yeah,
of course, the AT-ATs. Do they say AT-ATs?
Yes, AT-ATs. Yeah.
Although I've seen there's now a debate between people who are like it's AT-AT or it's AT-AT.
Yeah,
I'm on the side that it's AT-AT.
I think it's AT-AT only because I don't recall people actually saying them in the movie.
Yeah, they never do.
They never do.
Whoa.
So I remember being a kid of the 80s, like when the toys came out, people said AT-AT. So I'm only assuming what I heard, but it could be. Technically, AT-AT would be more precise, right? Because it's all-terrain armored transport.
That's true, but AT-AT has a nice, catchy ring to it. AT-AT.
Hey, where it at? Dare. Uh-oh.
How was that not in the movie? How did they not?
I don't know. They should have
Deleted scene.
like a little weird, stupid, over CGI'd creature just popping up in the frame, going, "Oh, where they at? Oh, there. Uh-oh." I'm just like, no.
No. Yes, I vote yes. Okay, so we have a fun game here set up, which I'm calling R2 Decipher. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Came up with in a panic half an hour ago.
Thank you for your service.
You're very welcome, of course. And so we're going to play a couple R2D2 clips, and I was hoping either of you or both of you can decipher what R2D2 is saying. So keep in mind, there's no wrong answer here. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're all in agreement. What's going on? Fantastic. So, Tom, please hit it.
Dagobah system.
Okay. To me, he sounds a little worried. Anyone? Emotions?
I thought he sounded a little happier there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
okay.
sounded like he was like wolf whistling.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like he saw a really nice other droid or something.
Yeah, I could hear that.
Look at that flying whatever that is. Woo-wee.
I didn't know R2D2 was so perverted. He's a really strange guy.
He just, he learned wrong when he was young.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Yeah, not his fault.
Yeah.
It could evolve.
They learn as they go. That's part of their how they work.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear the next one.
Holy. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one he sounds like a bit more upset. Like maybe Luke, why are you chasing Force ghosts across the galaxy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's
That's a
like
good
in
call.
3CPO mode there, but R2D2 version.
Yeah, you're right. He's.
Don't do that. Why are you doing that? Like that kind of.
Yeah,
that's
he
a perfect
absorbs-
imitation, by the way.
I thought it was flawless.
Thank you.
He kind of absorbs his anxiety there.
Yeah,
on that one.
totally. The R2's like, don't do that. No.
I wish, by the way, that it went from beeping to words. He slowly learns English. Okay, let's play the next one.
Oh yeah, that's classic.
That is classic.
I mean, that's classic D2.
I mean, what is there anything even to say? What can you possibly learn? We have one more. Play the last one.
Whoa, that's some distress stuff. I think.
Yeah.
I would agree, especially inferring from the explosion noise in the background.
Oh, yeah.
A little giveaway.
I guess so. No, that was fireworks.
Oh, so he's having a good time. It's July 4th. They still celebrate, actually. In the
Yeah,
future.
he's just bummed that they didn't spend the credits to get the bigger, nicer fireworks.
That's right. Oh, boy. Okay, while we're on this road, why don't we just keep going? I have another sound effect game. This one's kind of fun. So let's play. We're going to play a few sound effects, and then you guys just tell me what it is from the film, okay?
You got it.
Sound effect 1. Go ahead, Tom. Thoughts?
Trash compactor?
Well, that was in New Hope, not Empire
You're
Strikes
right.
Back. But it
All
definitely
right.
sounds like something heavy and metallic moving around. So
Okay. Oh, right. We're talking about Empire Strikes
Yeah,
Back.
so-
This
be
one
an
has an
AT-AT?
answer, obviously. So
It sounds. I mean, it's indoors. Not indoor. It's definitely inside of a large construct, and there's like
that is true.
there's actuators.
the carbonite freezing scene?
Oh,
Emily,
maybe.
that is correct.
Oh my god,
Nailed it.
That's great. Yeah.
That's 574 points. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh, 574.
Yeah. Your score, of course, must remain hidden until round 2.
Of course. Yeah. Until otherwise,
I would never.
revealed.
Yeah. So let's play round 2.
Okay. Is that the Hoth emergency?
I think so. Yeah.
chime?
So I've. It is the
Rebel base.
Imperial. It is the
Oh.
Imperial alarm.
Damn.
Yeah, very close.
It's
but
an alarm.
It is definitely an alarm. It's a siren, a frightening sounding one, by
I mean,
the way.
it is. Yeah, you don't want to hear that.
You don't wanna hear
if
that.
You're not on their side. If you're on their side, you're like you still don't want to hear it, but you know it's. But
then
it's helpful.
So yeah, right away you're like, oh no, but then it's like, oh, it's their alarm.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Love that sound. Okay.
Love it or hate it.
Here's the third one, round 3.
Galaga.
Emily?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely Space Battle.
Okay, you are both somewhat
TIE fighter.
correct, but it is
Darth
in-
Vader's.
It is in fact Michael Winslow, vocal wizard, making noises with his mouth.
Are you serious?
Yes, the music is from the film, but he has these shows where he will
Yes.
do the sounds from the movie, and that is him.
That's so crazy because I was just talking about Michael Winslow yesterday.
Okay.
And specifically enlightening the person we were talking with about the fact that he re-Foley's Star Wars scenes.
Oh, wow.
So it's very
so
bizarre.
specific.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wow. I came across that video and was absolutely blown away. That was the most impressive part, but honestly, the whole thing was completely ridiculous.
Amazing. All right.
He's the best. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we will have the hardcore X-Wing science stuff.
Okay, here I go. Dawn liquid detergent is the best detergent you can use if you're using a detergent. So why not use Dawn? It's better than Dusk.
Dawn, it's better than dusk.
The break is over. Here we go, back to the show about science.
Okay, about these AT-ATs, AT-ATs, why would they design them to walk like elephants? Why not fly around or hover or some such?
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. If you just look at any project like an engineer might do, what's the application? Where do you want to take it? So, I mean, AT-ATs are pretty big. So maybe they're too big, even in Star Wars, for their hover technology. Maybe, every place we see in Star Wars always has an atmosphere and it's breathable and you can fly around in it. But in reality, you're probably going to end up in a spot where you don't have a thick atmosphere and you can't fly in it. So something that walks is going to be much more useful than something that can't fly in whatever planet you take it to.
That is the coolest answer I've heard ever.
Yeah.
I would also I would say that remember it's the Empire, so intimidation and perception has something to do with
Exactly.
it.
These are the people who built a Death Star like 3 times.
And called it a Death Star.
Yeah, bold name.
Yeah, it's only 3 times. Like, no, we gonna build that. It's like, yeah, you just got destroyed. Yeah, but we're gonna build it again. Okay, great.
Should we do it differently or just bigger?
Oh, just bigger. Oh, this one harvests energy from the sun.
Okay, that's cool. Should we name it something different so that maybe people aren't sure what it is, or so we
what
have
should
an
we call
element
it?
of surprise?
What should we call it?
No, Death Star again.
Okay, yes.
Let's not think
Killer.
about it.
What was it? That's
Star Killer. Was
Star
the third
Killer.
one, yeah.
Oh, great.
Star Killer. Your career is over.
Yeah, and Destroyer is the name of their other, right? Cruiser.
Oh, yeah. Star Destroyers.
Yeah, Star Destroyer.
Very aggressive.
Then there's the Imperial Cruisers. Yeah. There's a whole fleet of stuff we can get into
Fleet
there.
of names.
You know, you have Star Destroyer and then Super Star Destroyer. So, again, don't give it a different name.
Right.
Just put Super in
Yeah.
front.
Yeah,
Next
wow.
is Hyper, of course. It takes up the whole galaxy. Well, then why does it have to move?
Okay, 2 quick points. One on the AT-AT, just as an add-on, and feel free to tell me there's no need for me to answer this. I'm a scientist. Ethan, don't waste my time. I thought it was pretty wild that they are able to wrap a wire around it and trip them. I felt like defensively they could have easily thought to put a knife or some sort of wire cutting technology. Doesn't seem so far-fetched. And then secondly, I wanted to ask about the TIE fighters because they say they use ion drives for propulsion, and we have those right now.
We do.
So that's like legit, right?
Yeah. Actually, and if you look at the Dawn spacecraft done by NASA that studied Ceres and Vesta, that's like the TIE fighter that NASA made, kind of, because it uses an ion engine. It uses solar panels, just like the solar collectors on a TIE fighter. So it's kind of like you can point to that and see, yeah, we have the same type of technology. Just it's not as powerful as what they show in Star Wars to be able to like move a TIE fighter that fast. Dawn does not move that fast, but we definitely have ion engines, and we've used them in space missions already.
Nice. Okay, that's cool.
So cool.
Yeah, crazy cool. Digging deeper into these ion drives, what goes into that? How do they work?
So an ion drive or engine is a type of electrical propulsion. So we're flowing ions and using electricity to create thrust. And they're different from traditional rocket engines that they create a lot lower thrust, but they also need a lot lower amounts of fuel. So you could just turn the ion engine on and let it operate for a very long time and have it push you up to very, very high speeds. Whereas a traditional engine, we burn it for a short amount of time and get that big burst of speed all at once. But it's costly in the way we think about spaceflight because we have to carry a bunch of mass with us being the fuel for those chemical engines, whereas electric propulsion has benefits because you need a lower amount of fuel and you can burn for a very long time.
Wow. Seems really useful. That's cool. Which reminds me also about the fuel. They never refuel, it feels like. They're the fuel that they have. I don't know if it's a different kind of fuel. I don't know if they talk about it in the film.
Yo, what the fuel?
Yeah, what the fuel, Emily?
Yeah, they never talk about that. I mean, I guess you could assume that somewhere in their hangar bay they were refueling everything, but yeah, I don't think they ever talk about what type they use.
Yeah,
and they never
true.
in spaceflight ever worry about it.
Right.
Like you'd brought up, like Luke just decides to go to Dagobah.
Right.
Yeah, right. Just willy-nilly.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think the only way you can get around that is like saying, well, the rendezvous point was at least as far or farther away than Dagobah, so clearly he could go there. But yeah, he seems to give no thought to, I'm just going to go to this other.
Yeah, what if he's stranded on the planet, too?
I mean,
There's
most you get is some hoses hooked up to a ship in a hangar.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That or you'll see TIE fighters hung from a suspension rack, and that's kind of it. I guess you're assuming they're recharging there. Maybe they have some like super nuclear reactor.
That's true. I just feel like they would
thing.
say something, because normally they, mention all these random...
Because the ships explode when they get hit. So there's definitely something in there that's...
Right. But it's definitely got to be some type of really advanced technology, because also you look at like an X-Wing's pretty small compared to Star Destroyer, but yet it still has a hyperdrive. It can jump all the way across
That's so true,
the
yeah.
galaxy.
Everything has
so
a
it's got to have
hyperdrive.
some like really small but really powerful energy source, fuel source within it to be able to do these types of things.
Oh, Lucas. Think these things through.
Yeah, you messed up.
From the guy who brought you Jar Jar Binks.
So let's actually jump into the hard science because of what you just mentioned. Hyperdrive, hyperspace, all that stuff. I was curious about it. In Star Trek, which we don't have to talk about, they use warp drive. They don't say hyperdrive. And from my research, I've found that that's a little bit more...
Accurate.
Right, understandable. Could be a thing maybe in the future to like warp time and space. But hyperdrive or hyperspace is hypothetical at best.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so given today's technology, again, we're limited to the speed of light. We can't go faster than that. We can't even get anywhere near it right now. Our rockets that we use and spacecrafts that we've flown are very, 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 very tiny, lots of 0.00 percentage of light speed. But there's theoretical physics who talk about things like wormholes, and if you can connect 2 points in space, then you don't have to... you can make a shorter distance between them, and so you get there faster. So it looks like maybe you're going light speed, but in practical experimental physics, we have nothing that actually can approach light speed yet, besides actual, light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to take that breakthrough, and if the theories are right, that you could create something before we actually get to something like warp drive.
Okay.
Didn't they teleport a photon? Wasn't a photon teleported?
Yeah, there was a study.
Was that actual teleportation, or was that because I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was that like a scientist or like David Blaine?
You have to spoil everything. It was a scientist.
Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. I just don't. I've never heard of anything being teleported, so I thought,
yeah,
it's a magic trick.
I get it.
Do you?
I mean, now I do. At first, I was just saying something, and then I was like, no, I'm saying something because I mean it.
Because I really do get it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're closer to teleportation than to hyperdrive or hyperspace.
Yeah, because, they did that, if I remember correctly, it was like, a single atom.
Yeah.
Where in Star Wars, we're looking at a giant spaceship.
Right. Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. One photon at a time.
Yes, that's how I take my life.
Yeah,
one photon at a time.
That's so crazy to think. Also, like, the idea of telepresence is interesting. Like, if we're able to, like, slowly populate planets in the solar system or wherever, distant places, and you can just kind of go there, because of the instrument cluster, or maybe there's a scan, and then the scan kind of recreates a virtual version of it, and you can kind of, like, pretend to be there.
Right.
It's kind of interesting because it's a form of fast travel, although your body isn't there, but your sensory apparatus are kind of there, which is kind of interesting.
That kind of happened to me last night, actually. I was at a Japanese restaurant, and they had a screen of a live feed of Tokyo, like, on the street.
Oh.
So you could kind of...
Oh, that's crazy.
I don't know if they were broadcasting us in Japan.
Right.
Of telepresence. So
yeah. Well.
It was cool.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do this thing over the weekend. It was virtually walking on Mars.
Oh,
yeah. So
we'd
taken HoloLenses, and they had stitched together images taken by the Curiosity rover. So you put them on, and it's like you were walking around on Mars. It was really, really cool.
That's so crazy. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
Like, helm a robot. Could you imagine, like, you think you're going in real time, but literally, like, the commands are, like, by the time it gets there, the robot's, like, delayed by whatever it is. But I love that idea of, like, I'm on this planet. You kind of as close as you can get.
Yeah, without the whole burden of the trip.
Yeah, who wants that?
No, not me. Would you want to go?
Oh, I would definitely go.
Would you be the first to go?
Oh, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Don't do it.
I don't know. Like, maybe, but I'd be really mad if no one ever came after me.
Wow. Because why would you be mad that no one came after you?
Because we did all that work and made all that sacrifice, and
nothing.
you guys just gave up and didn't send anyone else. I would totally be like, I'd be okay being in that first wave of, like, establishing another presence on another planet, but hopefully, more people are going to follow you.
Don't you think that that's a huge risk also, though, going first?
I guess the risks.
Right.
She knows the risks.
Yeah, well, she does.
And
but
she's willing to go.
She's among, like, 83 people that know the risks.
Oh, okay. So it's weird because I feel like we don't really know the risks, and yet we're here being like, I'm not going to go.
That's a risk I'm willing to take about risk. My own version of risk assessment.
It's a risky risk assessment that you have, actually. I've looked at that.
You know that Tom Cruise movie, Legend?
What? Legend?
Oh, sorry. Risky
Business. It's like, what? Oh, boy. Okay, here's another one, which I believe that you have an expertise in. Bespin, the planet that they go to, the Cloud City planet. I had a lot of questions about, and it seems very similar to Jupiter, which you have some sort of background in. Is that correct?
Yes. The other mission I work on at JPL is the Juno mission, which is a spacecraft that's in orbit around Jupiter. We've been there about a little over a year and a half now studying Jupiter.
Great.
Spacecraft.
Unbelievable. Jupiter is fascinating to me. Gas giant. They don't know what's in the middle of Jupiter. Is that correct? That's
That's right. That's what Juno's focused on, is understanding Jupiter, what is the interior made of, and how did it form. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It's made up primarily of hydrogen and helium, which is the same thing as the sun, so we know it was probably the first planet to form. So if we understand Jupiter, we understand how other planets like Jupiter, gas giants, form, but also that goes to solar system creation and how solar systems form.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's so cool.
So Jupiter was first. Do we know, like, the order of the chronological of the planets?
I don't know. Like, all to put them all the way, but we know that like gas giants probably come first because they're made, like I said, hydrogen and helium. So they're going to gather up all the leftover gases that the sun leaves behind. Those are lice. That's why they're so big. They get them all first. And then you get something like Earth and Mars, which are the rocky planets. They're picking up the leftover rocks that haven't been coalesced into another planet yet.
Great.
Do you think it's possible that Jupiter has nothing and it's just made entirely of gas? I mean, like, what holds the shape of it? I mean, it would seem like you have to have some kind of gravity.
Yeah, because it's so big. So the way planets start to form is you'll have just a bunch of gas or rocks floating around, and they start colliding into each other, and they stick to each other, and then it happens more and more, and they get bigger. So they start to amass more mass, and so gravity starts to form once they get to a big enough size, and then you get all the other physics and dynamics start happening. So you get that really large body that then it's large enough and massive enough to have gravity. But yeah, we're not quite sure what's in the middle of Jupiter. That's one of the things that Juno is studying. Does it have a solid core or not? We believe that you get down far enough with the pressure gets high enough that hydrogen turns metallic. And so that's how Jupiter has that really crazy magnetic field and a lot of radiation around it. It's because you have this spinning massive metallic hydrogen somewhere down.
Wow.
Deep
When do you think we'll know what's in there?
Oh, I mean, I think the scientists have been getting really good data, but I'm not a scientist who's looking at it to say like, oh, we'll know here. Yeah. But Juno's been returning really great data so far.
Man, can't wait.
I mean, not to make you bet again, because I don't want to tempt you into this life. Yeah. But if you had to, are we talking a year? Are we talking 10 years? Will I be able to know?
Yeah, I mean, even now, as we gather more data, the scientists start to write papers. So papers are coming out about Juno and the first theory. So you'll see that now, and as Juno goes on, even beyond Juno, that data set is always available there to scientists to go back and look. I mean, scientists still go back to Galileo, which we sent to Jupiter back in the 90s, and look at that data. So those data sets are always there and can always be used for new studies and to update our understandings.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody be checking online every day. You never know. We're going to find out.
Galileo.
Quick commercial break here for Galileo.
Galileo spacecraft since 1990s.
And we're back. I'd also love to talk about the asteroid scene. There's a scene where Han Solo is piloting the Millennium Falcon through this asteroid belt where there's a ton of asteroids very close together, and it seems impossible. It seems like they would all, like you were just talking about, gravitate towards each other and form like one big thing, or they would be like really far apart from each other.
Right. Yeah, so if you look at our asteroid belt, which orbits between Mars and Jupiter in our solar system.
Is that the Kuiper belt?
Kuiper belt is out beyond Pluto.
The Oort?
And then the Oort cloud is beyond that.
Okay, I'll stop saying things.
Yeah.
See you later.
No, we're learning. This is that's the whole point here.
Yeah.
No, but what is this one?
So the asteroid belt, we don't have a fancy name for it. It's just the asteroid belt in our solar system.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's a collection of bodies between Mars and Jupiter. And the average distance between them is something like 600,000 miles. Like
what?
We've sent spacecraft out to the outer solar system. We have never once, been hit by anything in the asteroid belt, right? We're not worried about smashing into something because it's so dense out there. We do look and see what we understand is out there when we plan a mission, but we're not like, having to do this crazy obstacle course or anything to get through it.
I hope it clears it.
And a lot of the bodies out there are also very small. The largest in the asteroid belt is Ceres at about 590 miles across compared to the Earth, which is almost 8,000 miles across. So much smaller bodies out there as well.
Wow. Okay, cool. So what would it take for these asteroids to be closer together? Why would that ever occur if it were to occur?
I think more like if you want like something that has that particles like much closer together, it's better to look at planetary rings. Like if you look at the ring system of Saturn,
right.
There you have a much denser collection of particles. But again, they're also much smaller. They're even smaller than the things we're finding in the asteroid belt. But there you still get a much denser collection. And it's still something you couldn't fly a spacecraft through.
Why not?
You'd just be getting hit by... Bombarded, and those particles are going very fast, because they're...
Wow.
You have to go... Something that small has to go really fast to be able to stay in orbit around Saturn.
Whoa.
So you think of the relative, speeds everything's moving, you would just be getting peppered, and like the Cassini spacecraft that explored Saturn. Like effort had to go into studying like where we think the rings stop and start, and never going too close, and like definitely never attempting to fly through them.
Wow.
Even in the rings, in the Saturn rings, we have things called like gaps. Like there's the Encke gap or the Cassini division, which makes you think like, oh, there's nothing there. That's not true. There's still stuff there. You couldn't fly a spacecraft through it.
Wow. Where there's gravity, there be trouble.
Okay, Jedi powers. Do you guys want one specific Jedi power? Because there's, the obvious, like, convincing people of things. There's moving stuff with your mind.
I'd say convincing people. More practical in the long run.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to get those gold bars inside that vault. You really need to get those gold bars inside that vault.
I was thinking more humanitarian, like, you need to stop this war.
Right. You need to create decentralized energy for all people so that there are no centralized financial institutions controlling access to resources. Okay.
Doesn't even repeat it back to you. Got it.
Okay, it's like, I'm not going to repeat that, but I basically got it. I'll press the button.
You can trust me.
Relinquish control button.
Is that the one you'd go with, Emily?
I know, that's a really good one. I was thinking like maybe like force jumping or force speed where you can run really fast.
Okay, so you're more into parkour than...
You're like, I'm out of here in a really fancy way.
Could take my car,
You can
but...
make the best entrances and exits that way.
Totally.
Really great.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like you just automatically be in great shape, right? I mean, do you have to work out? If
No,
you can
you
force
wouldn't.
jump, you wouldn't.
Nope.
I think that we've learned a lot. We've had a good time. Any final thoughts, you guys? Looking forward to the new Star Wars film, Han Solo?
Solo.
Sort of.
Solo, kind of. It's like, was it a coincidence he was named Han Solo? I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it definitely, the way it's marketed, it looks like it's for teenagers.
Right.
It's like, here's the teenager Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think
Star Wars High School.
Yeah, so Star Wars High School. It's like, yeah, ding 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 ding.
Star Wars.
Solo, great.
Why weren't you in gym class?
Hey man, I don't know. I'm rambunctious. I'm a renegade guy. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I'm really excited about anything that comes out that's Star Wars. I mean, like, I think the reboot thing is actually kind of working pretty well, and I think that they're capturing the spirit of it. And now they're kind of like they're creating their own version of Star Wars. Like, that's starting to begin now. It's like Star Wars is caught up to itself through the nostalgia effect, and now we're kind of exploring new storylines. And thankfully, there are good directors that are jumping on. Solo's been in trouble a little bit. So we'll see how that all comes together.
Who took it over?
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yes.
Yeah, Ron Howard, yeah. Opie Cunningham. From fishing on a lake to directing people with laser blasters.
Yeah. Several space films in his repertoire now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited about it. And I definitely, Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, that's like...
I think that's the part I'm most excited about.
I know.
Yeah.
Same with
Same.
me. I just want to see him be all suave and kind of Billy D. I'm excited about all of it. I think science fiction is one of the greatest story formats in the world because it defies race categorization, and it gives hope for people to kind of think about the commonalities and disparate social situations and like how people can work together.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about it.
Love that. Em, if I may call you.
What do I think about Solo?
Yeah, you hyped up?
I'm excited. I think I've been a little bit on the fence because, all the stories about the trouble and stuff. So I'm definitely going to go see it as well. But
Great.
I've liked more these, not the trilogy movies, but the other one, like Rogue One. I've liked those better than the trilogy movies they've done so far. So I'm definitely looking forward to these. Like you said, the new stories that aren't. That's giving them more space to explore other things.
Great. Okay. Well, guys, look out on May 5th for the Mars launch.
Yes, and if you want to follow Insight, you can follow them on Twitter at NASA Insight, or their website is mars.nasa.gov/insight.
Beautiful. Love that. Drive up to, where is it? Northern California?
Lompoc, California.
Lompoc, California, to watch the launch. And look out for Taskmaster.
Yeah, Taskmaster and my band's album, Wahada, releases May 11th.
Great.
So you can check that out and, live long and prosper.
Wrong film.
Oh, sorry. Right.
I have a bad feeling about this?
Yeah, I have a bad. Yeah,
There it is. That's the tagline.
check out the new single. I have a bad feeling about this.
By Wahada.
Yeah, by Wahada.
Okay, I'd like to thank my guests, Reggie and Emily. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Of course. And we'll see you guys next time on Bad Science. Bad Science is hosted and produced by me, Ethan Edenburg. Brent Butler jumped on to help me produce this episode, as well as Tom Moles and Sachin Medhecker as associate producers. And of course, the Jedi Master executive producer is Brett Kushner.